RevOpsAF, the only podcast for people who are RevOpsAF and want to learn all about things that are RevOpsAF.
Our goal is to give the revenue operations community, that includes marketing, sales, and CS, for any of you not paying attention, the skills needed to accelerate their careers.
Most sales tools just record calls. Attention.com uses AI to unlock their full power. Instantly automate CRM updates, score every call with customizable coaching scorecards, generate powerful workflows in multiple languages to support global teams. Top revenue teams like Bamboo HR and Scale AI don't just record calls, they use Attention.com to take action on them. Learn more at Attention.com.
Hello and welcome to RevOpsAF, the podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Camela Thompson, and today I'm joined by Jeremy Steinbring. Jeremy, tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, good to be here. I founded RevOnyx about 3 years ago. I can't believe January is going to be 3 years. And we focus on RevOps systems and fixing all the things that we're going to talk about today around tech sprawl and, frankly, people just being frustrated with the fact that their systems never work the way that they should. We solve that pain. So I'm excited to be here and chat with you.
Awesome. And I love talking to anybody in RevOps, but I love talking to consultants because you have exposure to multiple clients and can start to see trends. And boy, do we see trends, even if you just go onto LinkedIn. What we're talking about today is every RevOps professional's favorite, managing shiny object syndrome. So maybe we start with, what is shiny object syndrome to you? What does it mean?
To me, anything that doesn't actually drive and affect revenue. And there's a lot out there. And I actually think that there's shiny object within systems that we already use too. We see this a lot. And I know for those listening, when we were trying to figure out what we were going to talk about, the first thing that we said was we're not going to talk about AI because it bugs the both of us. But we see this a lot with new AI tools. I mean, damn, clients are changing their domains to .ai and just slapping AI on everything that they do. It's becoming even more of a problem because let's say you have your CRM, they're releasing features that are shiny objects that don't actually move the needle, but you're like, ooh, that might be interesting. It's a marketing ploy to get you to buy something that's not actually going to help. And it may help in the future, but or you're not ready for it and it just doesn't actually help you in any way.
Exactly. And it's interesting because I hear a lot of people say that the most talented marketers go to B2C instead of B2B. And I'm like, no, actually, marketing does work in B2B SaaS because every leader in sales and marketing I know has begged me to buy a tool because they heard it would do magical things from that marketing team and not necessarily another customer. So It works. Marketing works.
Yep. It's hey, I'm going to lose 40 pounds. And I go to the gym for 2 weeks and I've lost 3 pounds. And I'm like, how long am I going to have to do it? Oh, wait, there's this thing that I can buy off QVC that's going to allow me to burn weight. It's just the shortcut.
Yeah.
It's looking for a shortcut instead of doing the difficult thing the right way.
Speaking of AI targeting, I can't tell you how many weight loss ads I've had as a woman.
Tis the season.
Yes.
Tis the season.
Yes, we're heading into winter. So let's talk about how shiny object syndrome is impacting RevOps. And we said we weren't going to talk about AI, but I think we really have to because I think everyone in RevOps is sick of hearing about it, and I'd love to talk to the product managers and managers of RevOps people out there right now.
Yeah. I think it's just being used for the wrong things right now. Like, I think, frankly, the uneducated are just saying, oh, it can fix all my problems. Like, it is the silver bullet, the shiny object that's going to fix everything. It's the diet weight loss pill that's just, I'm going to do it with no side effects, and it's going to be great. And I think that's a big problem because I think it's used as a Band-Aid and as a temporary fix to try to solve a much deeper problem. And in fact, I would say one of the tests that I usually talk to my clients about is if you want to automate something or use AI for it, or you want to automate maybe an email sequence, and I ask them, like, does it work manually with a human doing it? If the answer is no, no tool is going to fix that problem. It's a messaging issue, or it's a product fit issue, or there's no market for it, or you're talking to the wrong kinds of people, or it's not landing in their inbox. It's not going to solve those kinds of problems.
I've made scenes at RevOpsAF on ranting about that exact thing. We always try to throw it at the most difficult thing first instead of the thing that makes the most sense. And what I mean by that is exactly what you said. Messaging, it's so multifaceted, and you need somebody super talented to figure out, interview a ton of customers, take all that information, and then figure out what you should be doing, test it before you try to scale it. Otherwise, you're just scaling garbage and burning equity with your target audience. And oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many times I've seen in the community, has anyone else had problems when they've used XYZ outreach tool and their emails from the CEO go in junk mail? Yes, everyone has that happening because you blew out your domain. Congratulations.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, it's so painful. So let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing AI be good at and what it's not great at yet. Because I see a lot of really confident product developers selling it, overselling it, and it's dangerous. I think we're going to see a lot of angry customers pretty soon.
Yeah, I see it in a couple different buckets. Just generally, I think it's fantastic for ideation. And this is a separate thing, but as a solo founder, I don't have another founder to bounce ideas off of. My wife is the closest thing, but please stop talking to me about RevOps and AI, because she's at home taking care of our daughter. She's like, can you complain to somebody else, please? So I'll complain to ChatGPT and just ideate and get ideas, and it just gets me thinking about things in a different way. I never copy and paste something that is from ChatGPT there, but I use it as like my miniature lightweight co-founder that kind of helps me think about things different ways, and I think it's fantastic at that. I also think it's really good at generally getting insights on large amounts of data. I love it for transcripting out of calls with clients, and then with a prompt understand like what key pain points are. When you feed it a lot of information, it can sift through that and really effectively give you something that can at least get you on the right track, even if it's 80%. So there are so many different use cases for that. Sales, marketing, business ownership. How do I apologize to someone that I pissed off that I don't know what to say? There's so many different things you could use it for, personal and business. As far as RevOps, I see the bookends being the place where it's working the best. And by the bookends, the ICP research coupled with other tools like Apollo and Clearbit and ZoomInfo, enriching data like in Clay, creating some sequences, and then automating the delivery of some of those things, assuming that your messaging works well and you have a product that people want and all of that. Like, that's really helpful. And at the other end, like with a lot of the chat bots and agent AI bots that kind of help just with volume, I think where it's not doing so well is when you have to replicate the human element of the go-to-market, right? Where you actually have to build a relationship as a sales AE to build that trust. Like, it's going to be more difficult for AI to emulate that. And I think that's where people typically make mistakes, depending on what kind of product. If it's straight PLG where you don't need to talk to anybody, you're selling Zoom. Cool. AI is going to work pretty much for the whole thing, unless it's like an enterprise level deal. But if you have a mid-market enterprise level customer and you're trying to replace like the contracting port, like, it's a red flag right off the bat.
Yeah. And I think we all love shortcuts because we're human, but there's certain areas it's just not ready to be positioned as a shortcut yet. So I totally agree with you. Anything around content generation, as long as you're pouring the expertise somehow into it, is actually really solid. And as somebody who's both RevOps and a content marketer, weird combo, but it works. It's just fantastic at mimicking tone of voice and editing. So when I have a podcast interview with somebody and take the transcript and put it through AI, it comes up with some really fantastic outlines, first drafts, needs a ton of editing, but it is replacing a lot of newbie marketers out there who are just wanting to write but not really know much about the topic. So I am seeing it replace some people. I don't see it yet as a replacement for anybody in revenue operations, because I've used it or tried to use it extensively in the area of analytics. And AI is meant to be helpful, which means it fills in gaps that can be super problematic when it comes to analytics. So if it's missing certain fields, you describe something incorrectly, it often grabs something it thinks is similar but isn't. And then it's just a disaster. So it'll jump to the conclusion that everybody without an email address is a duplicate, regardless of what the other fields say. And if you don't have a human double checking the work and you're trying to use it for analysis, you could end up making some really bad decisions that are not reversible.
Yeah. I also think bad prompting. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but if you're using ChatGPT and the way that you frame your question, it will agree with you most times. So if you say, hey, is this a good idea? Or, hey, I had an idea about this. What do you think? The first line is always, Jeremy, I completely agree with that. That's the right way to think. And it could be nonsense, but it just always agrees with you. So I've tried to be prompting with more like, tell me if this is right, or I have to be very explicit in what I'm asking it for it to do. Otherwise, it'll just reinforce your ideology that you're putting into it. And it's learning from it. So the more that it does it and the more that it has like good results, or you end up saying, oh, thank you, this is great. Like it learns from the feedback that you're giving it. So you're almost training it to just be a yes man, which is dangerous as well.
Yeah, it really works better if you ask it to point out the gaps. Mm-hmm. So here's what I've written so far on this topic, point out anything I've missed. And I love it for things like project summaries, summarizing positive results, communicating back to clients what we've done so far, giving it a template and then results, and then having it merge things together can really streamline things. Again, I think what really frustrates me about a lot of the AI products that are geared towards replacing something that's done in revenue operations is I see a lot of developers who are overconfident in the capability of their product, targeting a lot of customers who don't necessarily understand what RevOps does and the value they bring in vetting the information. So when it comes to analytics, always look for products that have standard metric definition capability. So when somebody else asks something, it's not calculating things differently. And a ton of transparency in how they're calculating things. Are there other pro tips you would give to people around, for example, trying to use AI with prompt generation and automation?
So, again, I think the big thing is you have to know when to use it and when not to use it. If you're, I wouldn't rely on AI solely for a template. And in fact, I would even say that I'm noticing as the world moves towards more AI, the messages are going to stop working. The email sequences have already stopped. If you've spent any time on LinkedIn recently, half the messages that you get, if not more, are garbage. You don't respond because there's not a human on the other side of it. And so it's not shocking to me that community is becoming more popular. In-person conferences are becoming more popular, because it can't be artificial. You're in person with them. And I actually think, and one of the strategies that I have at RevOnyx, just as in my internal go-to-market, is to go meet people in person, because it cannot be replicated. Whereas everything online seems to be fake in general right now. Whether that's an actual human sending you a message or not, it has that feeling. You always ask yourself, is this AI? Is it not AI? What is this? Are they just trying to sell me something? What is the deal? So I think that, and a trend that I've seen is like people moving away from sales lofts and outreaches, and there's always room for sequences if it's warm or if it's intent based. Yes, of course, but just the cold email, cold LinkedIn, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work anymore.
No, it blows up your domain. if you don't know how to limit things properly. And even I see so few companies leveraging those tools that actually go back and look at the results. It's a complaint people have about marketing, but I see it in sales too, where we don't go back and verify that it's actually working. So now that we've talked about how a lot of revenue operators are struggling to keep up with the demands from managers and analyzing these tools and figure out whether or not they work, let's touch a little bit on how this is impacting the B2B SaaS market at large. We see vibe coding, we see AI being implemented to speed up development. How are you seeing that impact your clients?
More competition, right? So if it's easier, and someone like myself who's not a developer could build a tool in a couple weeks, maybe, with a little bit of planning, and I can build a website. We either using a template or very easily, I can create a LinkedIn page. I can set up automated messages. I could stand up a company very quickly. With more competition means that it's typically easier to lose a customer because you are just competing against way more than you've ever had to. And with SaaS and technology in general, and now that we're going more towards like usage-based pricing, it's really easy to move and change the tools that you're invested in. So if because back in the day, it used to be where we didn't have any SaaS or anything on cloud, it'd be on-prem. You'd have to hire developers, build the system internally, and it was really expensive. SaaS made it cheaper because you didn't have to pay for that development. And then that took off. And now that anybody with the right AI platform can build their own product, it's like the next level of that. And so what we see is people are grasping at straws to find new logos and to find new business. Everyone is having the same problem because there's more competition. So the focus really needs to be on the other side of the bow tie, which is really creating, evangelists for your brand, because it's that person to person referral network and those promoters that are really going to help you either expand your current relationships or find your next customer. And so I find that the people that are actually more interested in deepening the relationships they have with their current customers are surviving and doing well. And of course, if you keep your install base, sure, you have growth goals, but you won't create this revolving door of in a harder market to find new clients, I'm going to put even more investment into all the tools that we just talked about, plus more people, plus consultants like me to try to drive new revenue. And then I have this leaky bucket where I'm instead of putting all of that energy into making sure your customers don't leave you, it's the opposite. And right now I talk to founders and executives every day. I never have somebody ask me first, how can I improve our retention? And how can we deepen relationships? It's always, we need to be finding different niches in our ICP and different messages to build and find new revenue and create new. It's always that. And that is the focus. And it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. And I think it goes back to relationship building, like what you need humans for and what you need AI for. And I think, again, if you have the diet pill that says that it can do the BDR work for you, right? And it's not going to take any effort. I already have the messages, just plug it in and hope that it works. It's harder than how do we actually create a product that drives more revenue and results for our customers? It's the harder thing to do, but those doing it are surviving better than the others.
And the irony here is like all the stats in the market show us that you're right in that the shortest tenure in go-to-market is always the VP of customer success. We have every client asking us how to automate interactions with customers. And it's sad. It's a little sad. So on that sad note, what can revenue operators do to manage up and hopefully talk some sense into their managers in a kind and influential way?
If I had the answer to that question, I'd probably be I'd have 7 companies all exited. I think that's the real question. And this is more of just a bias example, but I've been emotionally damaged by, I can't tell you how many startups in my career working in-house. And it was all driven from, all right, who's setting the goals? What are the goals of the company high level? And if it's PE, VC, it's just how can I squeeze more money out of this entity?
Yeah.
And it's never the hard work of how can you make a product better to keep clients longer. It's always about new revenue, new clients, growth. If you're a SMB mid-market ICP tool, they're like, how can you go up market? I can't tell you how many people that I've worked for, clients, everybody in the market, people I've talked to, they try to go to enterprise and it doesn't work. They invest millions and millions of dollars into new tools and they're going to change their product because they want to go up market. And I think it's just short-sighted. And that's all driven by the people at the top who are making the decisions about. So it's very hard to influence. Say you're a director of customer success and you're trying to prove your point that like this, obviously I would use data, I would have open conversations, but unfortunately they don't write the check for the product. And that's probably a depressing thing to say, but I don't know how anyone could really break through that, honestly.
I think you just answered why burnout is so high in our profession, because I have had success trying to tie everything back to the overall objectives, trying to be unbiased, step back and say, hey, these are the projects we have. Here are the ones that are directly tied to what we're supposed to do. Do you really want me to take this project you just came to me with and put it at the top? But because of where we are in the company and the overall focus, there's a lot of battles we have to step away from and accept that the priorities are changing once again and roll with it. Yeah, the most effective thing I've seen is taking our list of all the items we've been asked to do, trying to tie them to the overall objective, and then raising an issue. But when you run into ego and somebody who's hell-bent on focusing on one department over the others, it's just, sometimes you just have to accept where you're at.
Yeah. It can also be, I think a lot of it is panic right now. And if you were to ask most executives, they'd be like, no, we're not panicked. Like, we have a plan. But deep down, the old playbooks don't work anymore.
Right.
And so people are scrambling to try to figure out, okay, I used to, even 5 years ago, I mean, I can't believe COVID was 5 years ago, but like even through COVID, like when SaaS and everyone was going remote and it was easy, like you were turning customers away because you couldn't support. No one's doing that. Everyone signed all the customers and they had terrible experience. But the point is, it's different now.
Yeah.
And people are having to adapt, and we're at this crux of moving from SaaS to AI, and it's just very different. People don't know what to do. And so that's why the diet pill, I'm going to keep referencing it, is so attractive to them, because it's, oh, this new thing changed my world. The new thing can help me. I'm going to invest in the new thing. I don't know how. I don't know how to do it. I don't know which one of the new things I want, but I know that I need the new thing in order to survive. And I just think it's simpler than that. It's simpler than that. But it all starts with pressure from those above. And I'm very biased in this guy. I don't think this is not like broad brush. Every company is this way. There are those out there that are really focusing on retention and all those relationship buildings and all of those things. But just generally, whether it's LinkedIn, talking with clients, people in the RevOps space, that's the message that I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but what's interesting about all of this, particularly AI, is our opinions could change in 36 months. I had a very different opinion about AI when it came to content just 12 months ago. I hated it, and now I think it's great. But that said, I feel like we will always need brilliant people who understand strategy and how it ties to the tactical. And we'll always have the shiny object syndrome and have to battle that internally and figure out, like, how much do we let it bug us and how much do we just go with the flow? That's such a hard thing as a revenue operator.
Yeah. I think it's time to explore. Test, but don't make it your thesis to, we're going to build in this AI product. It's okay to test and play, because to your point, it's here to stay and it's going to change rapidly. And so again, in a year from now, we could be having a very different conversation. Absolutely. And you should be playing, exploring, and experimenting, but not upending your tech stack, your messaging, your what has worked in the past for this new shiny thing. And I think people are I'm just going to blindly jump aboard and hope that it works out. And I think using it tastefully in the right spot for what it's good for, which honestly, I think there's a huge education gap too. This is new for people. So people don't really know whether they're making a good decision or not. That's one of the things we do for our customers is we help them decide, A, are they ready? Is their existing tech stack, CRM, is it ready to tack on AI? Because as we both know and we touched on, if you give AI a bad prompt or bad information, you're going to get a bad result. So like part of it is at the right time and am I ready for it? And then it's also how are we going to use it and what is it good for and what systems do we actually invest in and which ones we don't. And right now there's not a lot of clarity in the market on that. So people are they're experimenting, but I think they're putting too much on. It's like a lottery ticket. They're hoping that the small thing that they implemented is going to make a big difference. You could use the same thing even before AI became this big thing. Pick a SaaS tool when it comes out. Did that fix all your problems?
Yeah.
Right? The answer is no. It was the same problem, just different thing, just different product.
Yeah, I like that. I think the best advice we can give people, there's a reason why I still say yes to advisory boards, because I want to give them feedback that could make the product better. Put in guardrails, explain the limitations up front, make me less frustrated. And there's also reasons why I'm still using products regularly that are costing me time, but I still carve out a few hours a week because I know that eventually they're going to figure something out. I'm going to find a use case that works and it will save me time because it sure did with content.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Jeremy, tell us where we can find you to network other than in person because this is an online format.
I was like, I have free therapy sessions with Jeremy anytime you want to talk about this. Nice. Find me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. In the RevOps Co-op community, love the community. And I touched on it before. I think it's the one thing that AI cannot do, which is actually having real conversations with real people, having these talks, ideating with folks that are in the RevOps space. So I love doing that. Please feel free to reach out and message me. And then if you are interested in needing a little bit of guidance on where do I put my money, what is actually working, am I ready for it? That's what my team at RevOnyx does. So RevOnyx.io, and you can find out all about us online.
We will include all those links in the show notes. Thank you again for being on RevOpsAF Podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode, everybody.
For more great content like this, join our community at RevOpsCoop.com and check out the links provided in the show notes.
Keep it RevOpsAF, y'all.